My computer. Okay, I think we're good. So welcome, happy Saturday. And Brent, do you like to sort of give an overview of our agenda today?
Sure. All right. So today our goal is to do a final, well, I want to say final critique because you never really want to close the door on reviewing something, but we want to have a critique on your websites. We want to get them uploaded to the Build It Yourself server. So we'll show you how to access that server, how to upload the files, how to troubleshoot, and make sure you can access them from the internet.
Excuse me, Brent, may I interrupt one second here? Meredith, I'm glad if you're still there. Meredith, before we can upload any files, we need your permission. We need parental permission.
Oh, sure.
If you could send me an email just saying okay to post Liam's files. And Berman, we need the same from you.
Okay.
Permission either from Lotus or from your parents.
Okay.
We can upload. And Ari, you got that, right?
Okay.
Okay, good. Sorry to interrupt, Brent. Fire away.
Oh, no worries. All right. So after we upload dependent parent permission, if for any reason you can't get that today, Berman, we can just go through the process with Liam, and then you'll know how as soon as you get that email to us. And after that, we want to kind of go over and document how data gets around the internet. So basically, when someone requests a website, what's the process? Because understand the process can help you make decisions, and also it's just good to know what technology you're using when you're working on a project. And then finally, we're going to discuss the next project, which is, I'm not sure if you guys have heard of Scratch. I'm almost assuming that almost every kid these days has. But Scratch is a video game making software from MIT. And we're going to use it to create a trailer to help promote Build It Yourself. And we'll go through what you can pick, but you can pick any part of Build It Yourself. And we're going to animate like a little trailer. So that's the big picture.
Great, Brent. Thank you. Well, let's start by just opening everyone's website, share your screen, and let's do a kind of group critique. When the Build It Yourself critique, what we like to do is say, first of all, what we like about each site, and then secondly, what we think could be better. Fair enough? So let's just go in order. Ari, you like to shoot first?
Okay. I couldn't work in my website this week, but I changed some little things that you told me last class, like the color of the text in this site.
I like it. It pops out a lot better.
Yeah. And the other ones are basically the same. And
what if we go through each page slowly?
Yep.
Home page. Can you shrink your screen a little bit so we can see the whole thing, navigation, and there? Oh. Good. Okay. Next page. Nice. Okay. Okay. Next. Turtles, hobbies, snails. Yo. Yo. I love that.
That snail. My God.
Very cool. All right. Okay.
Thanks.
Interesting site. Liam, Jinhan, Lula, you like to chime in? What do you think is Ari did really well here, and any suggestions for new ideas?
Oh, well, I really liked the background on that first page, but I think the turtle takes up a little too much room.
Ah, okay, very good. And the reason for that is you have to scroll to see it. That's a
Yeah.
very good suggestion. Okay. Yeah, there's a web design rule I once read. A lot of people don't use this rule nowadays, but it's sort of single screen design is the rule. In other words, you shouldn't have to scroll. I mean, you might make it a little bit smaller. Okay, good suggestion, Liam. Anything else? Okay. Thoughts about what could be better? The navigation on this page is a little hard to read, but that's a tricky change. The navigation on this page, would you agree, is hard to read?
Yeah.
So one thing you can do, you can try to override the default link colors. So Google link color, HTML link colors, and you'll see the instructions for changing the link colors. There's 3 link states. There's 3 colors for 3 different link states: unvisited, visited, and hovering. So you have to change all 3 of those colors to make it compatible with a particular background.
Okay.
And you can specify that. I think, is it specified in the header, Brent, or it's specified in the body?
I believe you can do it in the, like, you can put a style tag within the header, or you could do it in a CSS sheet, I think.
Yeah, great.
I have a suggestion for that navigation section. Could I share my screen for a moment? And I'll show you an idea.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do this real quick so we don't hog time. So your site has a lot of interesting backgrounds, and we like when navigation is fairly consistent. I mean, if you do have like a font that you stick with and a size you stick with, sometimes you can get away changing the color. But I think when the navigation's consistent, it works better. So one possibility, I know you have some backgrounds on other sections of your site, but it's possible that you could do something like a navigation bar with the background that kind of breaks up the page a little bit. And you could even do it where the top of your website, you have a different color, and then the navigation can be consistent, and below in the body section is where the background actually affects. So that's just like a little food for thought. You have to, if you use something like that, you have to be careful to make sure that it's executed in a way that works on all pages. Yeah. But that could allow you to have a consistent header and navigation format.
I love that idea, Brent. I love that idea.
Yeah, I think we can find
navigation colors on each page. If you do that, you lose your navigation consistency. And generally, when you're going through a website, you like to see consistency in the navigation, that it's anchored in one place and it looks the same on every single page. That way you kind of get familiar with your menus. Okay, yeah. Great. All right, any reaction to that critique? Does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay, you know what to do. All right, Liam, you're up next.
Right. I think one. See it?
Yes.
I tried to, but I couldn't figure out how to get them right side up.
I see. I see. I can show you that app. That's pretty easy to do in Windows.
Okay, good. Next page.
I didn't get along to art and architecture and engineering yet.
Okay, okay. Okay, so we basically have 2 pages here that are more or less finished. Okay, anyone like to make some suggestions? What what did Liam do that really works well? And any thoughts for improvements? So again, I love your choice of pictures. On the art page, Liam, let's go to the art page. So this page doesn't immediately hit me as a page of art. My sort of my brain calculates this as more a technology page or an engineering page than an art page. I know black and white can, be really beautiful, but somehow it just doesn't quite scream at me that this is all about art, especially after looking at your homepage. Can you explain a little bit what you want to convey here? What I can't read these images so well because what are the images about? One of my favorite things to do is dream up ideas and draw them. This is called dream drawing. Each building or object. So I love your text here under Liam's art. Liam, other art. Oh, so this is your dream drawing.
Yep.
Okay.
I didn't actually get to do the title.
Okay, cool. Okay. All right. After I read it, I get it better. I am working on a drawing for Book Ready Player. It's my favorite book. Okay. The idea of dream drawing is really, really cool. Somehow or other, we got to figure out a way to make this to the common eye really stand out. Maybe the images need to be bigger. What are your thoughts, Brent, as the artist on the team? Or Lula, any thoughts?
Well, did you scan it? Or did you take a picture of it? Good morning, I'm Lula from Mexico.
Liam, did you scan this or is this a photograph? Looks like it's a photograph from your cell phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, well, that's obviously the quickest way to do it.
So maybe there's an app for the telephones that is called Cam Scanner.
Oh.
It's very simple, so you can download it and you can use it as your telephone as a scanner, and it will upgrade. It will make your images much better.
Wow, that's a cool. I never heard of that. Cam Scanner on your cell phone.
And you can scan like if it was a computer.
Okay. So one thing you might put on your to look at list. And Brent, do you like to show Liam how or in general, how we can rotate an image easily?
Sure. Let me share my screen real quick. Actually, I don't even have to share my screen. A really, really simple way is you can bring it into PowerPoint, rotate it in PowerPoint, and then right-click and save it as a picture. So let's go to your lab book, and let's drag and drop one of these into a blank page in your lab book. And also in Windows, I don't know about Windows 10, which I hesitated, but the picture viewer usually has a rotate button that you just click it and it saves. But I think doing it in PowerPoint is an interesting concept. It might give you other ideas on how to edit images here.
Yeah, PowerPoint actually has some Photoshop features now, enables you to do some of the things, really simple things in PowerPoint that you normally need to do in a Photoshop-like package. That is the latest version of PowerPoint.
So you can just like insert a new slide. And it might be good to document these pictures anyways, and you can write about something like about the page or something later.
Yeah.
So it might be cool to save them in here.
Yep.
So I think, let me annotate. I think you could do insert or under home and then do new slide. Let's see. Yes, perfect. And then your pictures, I'm assuming they're saved in your website folder under the images folder.
Yeah, they are.
So yeah, so we can just drag and drop them, or we can just copy and paste right from your website. That's also a possibility. So on your website, you can just right-click your picture and then copy it, and then go into PowerPoint and paste it. And then if you click on your image, yeah, perfect. And you got this tool to rotate. I think if you hold down shift, okay, you got it. Perfect. Yeah, I think like shift or something allows you to like snap into like a grid almost, where it's like does kind of aligns with other objects or like
Or
clicks into place.
horizontal and perfect vertical.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. So Lula's suggestion here, I think, would really be good to use the cam scan. The other possibility here, Liam, is to take details of this, because I have a feeling these drawings are really beautiful, but you can't see them so well in this particular scan. So you need to maybe zoom in a little bit or take pictures just of each section and make it kind of like a comic book, a comic book sequence, because you don't get I don't think you get the impression from this image of how cool this idea really is. Dream drawing. It's a great combination of words, dream drawing.
I agree. I really, really would like to see it because it looks really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so you've got some ideas here, right, Liam, to work with? You got the start of something really great, really unusual. Let's see if we can take it to the next level.
Yeah.
If you have any specific questions, don't feel shy about emailing Brent.
Got it.
And just as a how to export, if you right-click on the picture anywhere on the picture, there's an option called Save Picture As. So if you modify the picture, like rotate it, crop it, change the contrast, anything, you can export it. And you can also resize your picture here. It's not as effective as using like the GIMP or Photoshop, because you can't really specify the resolution. But you can look at what it outputs, and if it's too big, you can just shrink it and then save it again. So you can do quite a bit with PowerPoint.
So save this on your desktop, and then or any place in your folder if you like. Actually, you ultimately need to save this in your web folder. Sorry, this definitely needs to be saved in your web folder. Sorry. Under Images, you need to Save As, and it's probably going to save it as a PNG. So you want to make sure you save it as a PNG. It's probably okay in black and white, but generally PNGs will limit your color range. So if you have a really colorful image, you probably want to save it as a JPG. you'll get the best picture record, the best picture quality if you save it as a JPG.
I think I got it.
Okay. Okay, you know what to do, right, Liam?
No.
Okay. I'm sorry? You look like you know what to do. Okay.
Well, a suggestion, I guess, based on what like John and Lula were suggesting, if you zoom into each section of your picture, let me just annotate on top of your screen. If you set up your website and you have, maybe you can have your main picture and some text about it, but then you can zoom into each section and just kind of write about what that was in the dream. Kind of give more of a story of each piece, like the castle, the floating island, and so on. It will make your page a little bit longer, but it will give more insight, and it will kind of allow you to zoom in. It's kind of like on Build It Yourself. If you look at one of the mission pages, like if you ever been there for like web development or anything, we say overview, problem, mission, and then we kind of go into details of Hall of Fame and stuff. So you could kind of do a big picture of what dream drawing is and what this drawing is, and then show each segment of the drawing, each piece of it, in a story with it. And that would be really cool for the visitor. It would give them, it would almost immerse them in your dream. What do you guys think about that?
Love it, Brent.
It's a cool idea.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay. Yeah, have a look at Jinhan's site. So we
Yes.
leave a little bit of time to talk about uploading and the next project.
Okay. Oh.
Liam, you have
Actually-
some really unusual ideas. It'll be fun to see how we can execute them to present them as cool as they really are.
I just changed the colors.
Okay,
No, I didn't.
good.
Makes a
No,
great
it's okay.
difference.
What? Sorry. Okay, and
I think
music.
Lula said it makes a great difference.
Thank you. So now is the most important things in this week. Sorry. Yeah, I need to open the camera. Yeah, is I
Happy-
just add a video in my in my
Whoa.
sports part, and you can see, how good I am. Sorry.
Way cool. So tell us again. This is a video of you kicking a goal. That's you.
Yes, it's me.
All right. All right. Wow. Oh, you're a
So
hot man.
I got it. Just a little details. You can see that, and I just add some music, and just
Oh, this is great. So,
and
can you explain, Jinhan, how this is a GIF? What kind of image is this video? What kind of is this in a GIF format? How did it work?
actually I just found some code from the W3 school, and I just tried to end in my actually this video I just made by myself.
Oh, it's an MP4 video, and then there's code that repeats it, loops it. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's hard to say that because actually this is there are some 3 videos, and I just try to just make it together, and
I got it. Okay, so you run them.
I just
you
forget
strung
how
them
to
together. Mhm.
how to edit. What? How? Oh,
This is really cool.
no, it's so difficult because I spent maybe half hour.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so difficult to me, and finally I just make it, and you can see that in the last part, I didn't use the music because you can hear the sounds of the that football just rub with the net. Wow, that's really cool, right? You can hear that.
It's definitely cool. So
Yeah.
can you show us the code again? I like to see this code that strings
Okay.
together video clips.
Just yeah.
So you just copied and pasted this block of code from W3 schools. Mm-hmm.
Yes. But maybe this so not clearly. I think that in this website.
Uh-huh. Sweet.
I like it. It's the HTML5 video tag. It's
Ah,
really straightforward, and I like that it has a fallback with the object tag too. So, John, like an iframe, when you have if your browser doesn't support it, you can put something inside the iframe, like text saying your browser doesn't support this.
I see.
There's an object tag as well, so it will play in HTML5, and if not, it will try to play still.
Great.
It's awesome. I like it.
Okay. This is it's spectacular, Jinhan, that you took the initiative to do this.
Yeah, I think I just use MP for just over there.
Well done.
Yes.
Well, very well done. Okay. So let's let's go to, did we see all of your pages, your soccer page? And we
Yeah.
saw,
I have one critique of this page before we leave it.
yeah.
Just really quick. I like the video a lot, but it comes below the return.
Yeah.
So I think moving this up here and maybe having it as a third, item with text
Or
up
how
top.
about even the first element, because it really attracts attention. So it should be at the very top.
So the video should be in there.
Yeah, definitely. Don't you think?
Yes.
Position it at the top so that you see it without having to scroll. Again, I'm reminded of that lesson I was taught a long time ago in website design. If you can design a page that doesn't need to be scrolled, you're in a better position to sell. If you have to scroll, it's first of all, it's work for the user. And secondly, the user may be in a hurry and they may not take the time to scroll. So if you can design your pages as single screen, no scrolling, and you're trying to sell something, that's often a good rule.
Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think that is a good idea.
Okay. All right. So you got some work to do there. Let's have a look at some of the other pages. And Ari and Liam, any suggestions, Lula?
I think it's good. No suggestion.
Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Lula.
what was mentioned by Brett was important also, and I would think, I don't know if it's possible, Brett, to locate the video beside like in the middle, but not exactly one under the other one of the two pictures before.
Or maybe you could make the
Over
title.
there?
Yes, but not aligned, like a little
Mm-hmm.
in the center, maybe, to convey that it's the video.
Mm-hmm. In the middle. Okay.
Kind of. I don't know if Brent, I don't know if...
Possible, certainly possible to do that by creating two tables. A table at the top and then the video and then a table underneath. But so you can experiment with, the idea here is to make your video as prominent as possible, as important as possible. It's the calling card of this whole page.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I see. Just try to make it more
more visible, right?
Yeah.
without
I
having
see.
to scroll. Yeah. You
Yeah.
don't want to scroll. You want this video to come right up as soon as you go to this page. If you
Think of it like this.
scroll.
Yeah. But in this situation, you can see the handsome body, right?
Oh yeah.
That's over there, right? Huh? No, it's okay. Come on.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool, right?
Okay. So
I love it.
you get right in the corner of the goal. Wow, that's a goal, no question. No goalie is going to stop that ball.
Oh, he is our goal kick in our school,
Oh really?
so he's really good.
Okay.
So
Good.
that means. Oh come on. Oh.
Okay, it's a chance to show off. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So, any other pages that we can critique here that you'd like our feedback before Brent gives you a quick introduction to uploading?
Come on. Oh no, this is the large page. Oh, where's my?
This is a large
yes.
file. Uh-huh.
Yes, the game and the future.
Okay, so, oh, I see.
Yeah, just the pictures.
Oh,
Yeah,
just
just
the
loading.
picture. It looks
Yes, no
Oh,
more
great.
information.
That's the whole point. Very clever.
Yes.
Very, very clever. Looks like it's loading. Great. Very, very, very clever. That's creative. That's creative. We like to see that.
Yeah.
Okay. Nicely done.
So, real like one last thing before we switch off to the uploading. Would you go back to the sports tab? I think this is useful to always keep a vision of keep in mind the big picture. And our goals are to show off to friends in college admissions, for instance, or school admissions. So when you make design decisions, I think this would go for everyone. When you are showing a college or people that you play sports, what is cooler to show off first, or what would get you a scholarship faster? Showing them how many goals you make, or showing them the logo or the team picture? So, like John mentioned, if you're trying to sell, and honestly, this page is trying to sell you. It's trying to sell your ability for playing soccer. So this goes for everyone here. When you decide which order to put your content in, the content that sells the fastest should be on top, in my opinion, and require less scrolling. If they want to learn more, they'll want to scroll to learn more. If you put the coolest thing at the bottom, they might get bored at the top. But if you put the coolest thing at top, they're going to beg to know more details about you. I think that's just like a philosophy that's useful in the site. John,
Right,
anything to add to that?
right on. That's put much better than I put it. Thank you, Brent. Okay,
Welcome.
it applies to everyone. Okay, unless there are any other questions or suggestions, Brent, do you like to give, first of all, a big picture on uploading? Or how about this? Let me give a big picture, first of all, on how the internet works. Is that useful, Brent?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
So let me if you can, let's see, I'm going to share my screen. Sorry, guys, I should have set this up beforehand. I didn't. So I'm going to go to Build It Yourself, and I want to go to Missions, Computer Programming.
I just put the link in the chat box to the PowerPoint directly.
Okay, I got it. Website design, PowerPoint. I think I got it, Brent. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the picture that explains how the internet works. And very often these days, if you're a software engineer, that's great. If you're a hardware engineer, that's great. But if you can be like Brent, where you know both the hardware and the software, then that's superhuman. So companies love to have engineers who design for both, who optimize for both hardware and software, have a sort of basic understanding of how both work. That way your designs will be more efficient. Okay, so the way the internet works, the hardware basically, is you have a client, that's the user, the person who's looking at a website. Then you have your local internet service provider. So when you make a request for a website, you send the URL to your local service provider. Your local service provider then sends the URL, which might be buildityourself.com or google.com. It sends it to what's called a domain name server. The domain name server is very important in the internet because computers don't like letters. Computers love numbers. Computers eat numbers for dessert. But when you give them text, they hate it. It takes them a long time to digest text. So the domain name server basically converts text into numbers, into an IP address, number address. So then what happens is once your internet service provider converts google.com into an IP address or a set of numbers, then it sends them to a network of routers and switches, very, very much like your telephone system works. But instead of sending audio, of course, you're sending little chunks of data. And the routers and the switches find the fastest way to get that IP address, a set of generally 6 numbers, to the server where your code for the code of google.com or the code of your particular website exists. Does that make sense? Any questions so far? So we're sending your google.com to get an google.com IP address, which is then sent through a network of switches and routers to wherever your server, wherever your website is hosted. Could be across the world. The cloud these days is everywhere. And then the next step is when we go to the server where your website is located, stored, we access all the HTML code and we send it right back through the network of switches to your internet service provider and back to your client. Does that make sense? And then what happens is your client gets that HTML code and through a browser like Internet Explorer or Chrome or Firefox, it then converts that HTML code to a web page. Now, what's really amazing is that all of that stuff happens in a fraction of a second. In other words, if your server is in China, to get your IP address from Boston to China and then to return the HTML code often can happen quicker than it takes you to blink your eye. So that's the genius of the internet. Any questions? Okay, Brent, take it away. So now we're going to show you how we get your web page code stored right here on this website host server, somewhere up in the clouds.
All right, so I put it in the chat box. Wait before you do it, but there's the link to our web server. There's the login as well. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you how I would upload something. We have to be really careful because we have a lot of people's websites on the server. Okay, so the first thing we do is we go to ipage.com. Once you're on ipage.com, you go to login, which is in the top right. And then the other info in the chat box will now make sense because they ask you for your domain or username. And that is, let me pull up chat.
Excuse me, Brent, while you're fetching that username and ID address, don't worry, guys, if you don't need to take notes here, we'll send instructions to do this to you. It's good if you just follow Brent and get a big sense of it, and then we'll give you the details. And probably we won't be able to execute this today. We'll have to execute it tomorrow or next week. But that'll be a good chance for all of you to get your parental permission emails to us before we post this live. Sorry, Brent, go ahead.
Oh, no worries.
One more thing. Guys, I'm going to have to excuse myself for a 10 o'clock meeting. But I love your websites. And next week, we'll finish uploading your files, and then we'll brainstorm about the next project, which is going to be a promotion, a Scratch project that promotes something about Build It Yourself. We're going to give you a chance to exercise your selling and promotion skills. Okay.
All right, and I'm going to write down the instructions as we do this, just so it's easy to follow later. All right, so the next thing, we go to File Manager, and that's this blue folder. It should be right up top. When you click that, you'll see that we have a lot of folders in here. So this is where you have to be careful. First thing is important not to use last names. If someone else has your name, use like your last initial. And the way we create a new folder, maybe write that in, create new.
Excuse me, Brent, again. I just made you the host, Brent. I'm going to leave so we can make sure this recording gets saved.
Okay.
If when I leave the meeting closes, I don't think it will, but you just have to log in again. Okay, guys, have a good week. Stay out of trouble. Do your homework, and then do your website.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, John.
Bye, John.
Bye, Lula. Thanks for joining, Lula.